How you doing? Joe Youngblood and Chuck Nesley here, looking to recap what we just witnessed here at the Pac-10 Finals. Pac Finals. Some great matches, great team race. Chuck, came down to the 220 pounds. It was still a 1-point team race. Not to overshadow what we saw in the finals. We can start and we'll talk shop. And we'll work our way up from 106 up. 106. Corey Morabito and Justin Altrock go out there, and you watched them all day. You saw what they did, and Morabito having won the earlier matchup, but Altrock being the one to come out on top. And Chuck, when you want to chime in and talk about some of these guys that really stuck out, I know that you were impressed with a lot of stuff that you saw tonight and throughout the day. Going to 113 pounds, one of the marquee matchups, Matt Wild and Brandon Meredith from Springford. Again, it was a match that was won by Wild earlier on in the year. And Chuck will tell us a little bit about that match.
Yeah, just really impressed. Old, young. Like in that first match, Altrog, senior. Just the older and younger theme kind of hold true all day long. The older guys, that experience that they have, the mat time that they have. You just saw how there's a big difference between being 15 and being 18 years old. Physically, mentally. The younger guys out there, we had a lot of examples that we tried to show you of, things to look for and things to do. And we saw how veteran older guys had the advantage today.
Yeah, we roll over to 120 pounds. Another marquee matchup. We weren't short on great matchups tonight here at the Pac Finals. You had senior Luke Resnick going against senior David Campbell. And I got to say, I really thought we'd see more out of Luke Resnick. David Campbell controlled from kind of start to finish. Never gave Luke the opportunity to get to his offense and any facet of the match, and it showed.
Yeah, Campbell controlled the whole match. Luke got dug underneath, and Campbell just had a good defensive plan, and Luke just couldn't get anything going. Really nice job by David Campbell there in the 120-pound final.
Yep. So at 126 pounds, we had one of our matches that was one of the few missed matches we had with Jacob Campbell and Alex Cabero. Yeah, Cabero. Sorry, I apologize if I say your name incorrectly. Sorry. But Campbell was dominant as he was all day, and really went out there and took care of business. And this was a run where Boyertown put some matches together to put themselves back in this team race. They were down, not significant points, but they were down going into the finals and had to make up for it. And that string of matches there, finals matches they won, really helped them out.
Yeah, Campbell, again, a senior leader on the team of a lot of solid wrestlers, and you saw your better programs tonight in the pack where they've got full lineups and put together full teams of quality wrestlers. Again, Campbell, decorated wrestler from Boyertown, has got a really bright future here in the next couple of weeks. Really look forward to see how he handles possibly a matchup with DeSanto or Lee at Hershey.
Yeah, 132 pounds. We had, as Chuck talked about, the old and the young. Senior Eric Fuentes from Norristown, and we had freshman Antonio Petroselli from O&J Roberts. In a match where I thought I'd be a little bit closer, I gave the edge to Fuentes just based upon age and experience, but he really put it on Petroselli today. His control start to finish, as we talked about, and Chuck talked about the difference between being 15 and being 18, or at 17, 18, the maturity. All things maturity, as he talked about, and Fuentes was just able to just really take control of that match and never really was in doubt, and he really kept himself in good position the whole time.
Yeah, totally controlled it. Petro's got a bright future. Just has to mature a little bit and understand how to control his emotions and when to attack. He just wants to attack all the time. You can't necessarily do that. You got to be oxymoron, patiently aggressive. He doesn't have quite that mature patience yet, and Fuentes showed it. Yep. Very patient. Petro would make a slight mistake here or there, and Fuentes did a nice job taking advantage of it. Their 132-pound match.
Yep, 138 was another great match, or one we were really anticipating between Cole Meredith and Dylan Henry. Cole Meredith beating Dylan Henry twice earlier in the season in the same week, once in a duel and then in district duels in the consolation semifinals. Both matches won by Meredith, but today, Henry came with it. That senior experience of having been there before in a larger tournament with a lot on the line, and maybe that was it. His plan was great from the start. He's one of those guys we talked about that just stayed in great position the entire match. Stayed in the stance, didn't force things, didn't force the action, let it come to him, and then before he knew it, he had the lead on Meredith, and then Meredith had to open up and come at him, and it was to his favor. What the lead he built.
Yeah, the other two matches that he had with Meredith, he kind of let Meredith set the tone, and Henry was a little bit more aggressive early, that didn't let Meredith, get into his game. And that first period, he kind of took Meredith out of his game. Meredith never was able to recover. Henry did a nice job winning that match. Real close, right? What was the final there?
5-3, something to that effect. It was a close match,
really
but
nice
it was a match that was kind of that Henry controlled.
Thought he had a chance of possibly being the outstanding wrestler. By avenging those two wrestlers.
And we're speaking about outstanding wrestler. We'll get the 145 pounds. Where senior Bryce Reddington, who last time wrestled Dan Mancini, did win, but it was a close match, contested match, went to overtime. This time around, Reddington's game plan was a little bit better. Having talked to Reddington, I think part of his poor performance first time against Mancini was the first time making 147. That may have played into it. 100% sure. He didn't say that. That's just I'm making the assumption. I know I shouldn't, but I'm making that assumption. Maybe that weight cut was a little bit difficult. Now that he's probably got stabilized, being used to being around it, looked way better today. The Bryce Reddington we saw last year, who won regionals, was the guy that was on the mat tonight, and he flustered Dan Mancini from the start. Another instance where Mancini never got to his offense. He never got a shot in. He had that first flurry in the beginning where he got those hooks in and started to push into Reddington a little bit, but never really got comfortable. Never really got into any kind of groove, and that's a testament to Reddington's experience in doing that. And then we saw at the end Mancini losing his cool a little bit. Again, talking about that maturity and the head games sometimes that are played out there, and not necessarily old versus young, because Mancini is a returning regional qualifier, but Reddington was able to get into his head a little bit, and it really took him off his game. That's a match we might possibly see a rematch of that next week. But more than times than not, probably not. With some of the guys coming in from the Central League, but who knows?
They're both going to be do really well, I think, next week. I think they're both regional guys. We'll see what happens after that. Reddington just was really solid. He was a solid senior wrestler and just dictated everything against Mancini. Mancini's got a bright future. I wish him the best of luck. But Reddington got the best of them today.
Yeah, and for his efforts was named the outstanding wrestler of the PAC tournament. So, again, congrats to that, to Bryce Reddington. Moving on to 152 pounds, we had Chris Berry and... that was Roman Moser. Geez, how did I forget? It was the run of Methacton guys. Roman Moser, freshman. Barry, the senior. Again, kind of the theme for a lot of matches, old versus young. Barry just took it to him. He used that experience that he's had, getting the win for the Boyertown Bears. Again, putting them back and keeping them in the lead there at that point of the night. If you listen back to the broadcast, you watch. At that point, Boyertown had built like an 8-point lead or something like that, something in that range, and that was a testament to them wrestling tough early on. And again, Barry just came out, controlled start to finish, never imposed his will on Roman Moser. Again, we'll talk about Roman Moser, extremely bright future. And Chuck will definitely agree with me on that one.
Absolutely, Moser can't hang his head. He's fighting hard. You're going against a kid that's got a lot of experience there in Barry. Best of luck to both of those guys. Moser, again, we've seen now a couple of young guys that just got to figure things out, that have bright futures. They just got to stick at it, and they will. And hopefully they'll turn the corner here and mature a little bit and be able to take it to the next step. Yeah.
Turnover 160 pounds. You had Ryan Resnick, the 1 seed, got in the final against Jacob Folk, who had an upset of Hunter Vogels in the semifinals. We're hoping Hunter Vogels is okay. He was hobbled in that match. He's been battling injuries, and just want to say, he injury defaulted in the third place match to Michael Blakemore from Methacton. I just want to wish him the best and hope he's healthy for the postseason. Always guy like watching wrestle. Hunter, hope you get healthy for districts and make a run here in the postseason. Been back talking about Ryan Resnick, and been a guy who's been a man on a mission all year. Only 2 losses. One to Eric Hong, who's ranked somewhere up top, close to 1 in the nation, definitely 1 in the state, and the other escapes me again, but it was at Escape the Rock. Irrelevant, another guy highly ranked in the state, and he's just been very methodical in going after opponents, scoring a lot of bonus points, and it's more what we saw today.
Sure, love the way he wrestles, can hit you from all angles. Not a one-trick pony, just solid at everything that he does. Really excited about watching him wrestle the next couple of weeks. Folk's a tough kid from Upper Perk. He can do really well here the next couple of weeks, too. He just ran into a bit of a buzzsaw there in Ryan Resnick.
Yep. 170, we had Brendan Marion with the win for the Warriors, and his match was over Isaiah Mays, the 1 seed from Pottstown. It was a great match, went back and forth, a lot of flurries. Mays looked a little tired towards the end, but, was in it, going after him. Two guys just went out and battled with one another. Mays coming out on the short end of it. That's a matchup we might see at some point in time next week in the District West tournament. So look for that one where it could go either way. Today went Marion's way. Next week could be a totally different story. Definitely was, this is the first time I really got to see Mays wrestle this year. Definitely impressed with his quickness, athleticism. He talked about the fact he's just this week committed to go to Ithaca College to, further his academic and athletic careers there. So again, he's looking to make a run here in the postseason, as are all the guys. But he's definitely one of the bright spots for that Pottstown program.
Yeah, Mays is fun to watch. He was a bright spot last year for them, regional qualifier from last year. And again, the way the postseason is set up, a lot of these guys are going to somehow, some way wrestle each other again the next couple of weeks if they plan on making it to Hershey. Mays and Marion, two great seniors there. Awesome title match there at 170 in the PAC championships.
So 182 pounds, we had another match. It was kind of a lopsided one. We had Elijah Jones and Chase Smith from Springford. And Elijah Jones, he pinned him in 48 seconds in their first time meeting in the dual meet this year. Yep. And it was all Elijah Jones from the start to finish. I believe final score something in the realm of 14-1. Again, scoring big bonus points for his team, when it started to get close there down the stretch. And Elijah Jones, again, another guy, just a lot of fun to watch. He goes out and he's nonstop. His motor goes and he goes and he goes, and he's just relentless on top, on his feet, on bottom, constant movement. And Chuck made the comment earlier, it's good for these young kids that are out there maybe watching these videos, watching these wrestlers. He's one of the ones you'd want to emulate what you do. And you want your coaches want your kids to wrestle like a Elijah Jones. And there's tons of them. I'm not just saying just Elijah Jones, but the fact is he's just very workmanlike. There's not a whole lot of flash to what he does. He goes out and grinds, and he puts points on the scoreboard.
Yep, fun to watch. Doesn't put himself in bad positions. Aggressive. Does the things that you want to see. He goes out to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not there to not lose. He's going out to win every time. Smith just ran into a wily veteran there, Jones. Smith battled, though. You got to give him credit. Just Jones had a little bit of an advantage over him.
Speak of wily veterans, taking your catchphrase, 195 Nick Duliakis going out with the first period fall in a tilt over Skylar McLeod from Pottsgrove. Again, it was Duliakis. It was all Duliakis from the start. He already had been almost major decision criteria at the point of the fall, and he just did his part for that Wildcat team to bring home the championship. And he was just relentless on top. And his top game right now is it's hard to stop. Again, another guy that's fun to watch. He goes out, not a whole lot of flash. He goes out and he does what he does very well, and he's very hard to score on. And he puts points on the board.
Yeah, Duliakis is going to be a tough out here. In a week or 2 weeks, he's going to run into a really tough Zaff kid from Downingtown. Really excited to see that matchup. Zaff stayed at 195.
Well, next week, too, Mortimer from Garnet Valley also made the move at 195. A lot of people run the 195, think that's a better route. It's been all Duliakis all year, been the lone guy, and now it's it's become a little bit more competitive. So that'll be fun to see in the coming weeks.
Good luck to McLeod. He had a tough match against Dooley tonight. Keep fighting there, buddy. Good luck next week.
Now we have at 220, we had Mike Modugno from the Upper Perk Indians, just all over Marlon Cephas from Marlon Bo Cephas from the Norristown Blue Eagles. And again, it was just he played some catch and release. He was just relentless in his attack. Another guy, for a big guy, hitting a lot of moves and getting a lot of movement that you don't typically see on a 220 pounders. When you have a 220 that can wrestle like Modugno, it's a real tough matchup for those guys that don't wrestle so much. And Cephas is an athletic guy as well, and you just couldn't hang with the the experience and the level of skill that Modugno.
Sure, that's what takes those bigger guys to the next level. Is being athletic by still being big, and Modugno just took it to him, just a little too much for him to handle.
Yeah. We finish up the heavyweights. We have it was Matt Lepore and Tony Ellis. Lepore, the junior from Springford, Ellis, the sophomore from Methacton, and again, it was a match where it was kind of close. A few exchanges early on. Lepore gets on top, and you don't see it out of big guys. He throws the cross-face cradle and packs him up, and it was fun to see. My favorite part of that was that him faking going over to jump into Coach Slislav's arms. Slislav was pretty unsure whether or not he was going to do it.
Backed away quickly.
And Modugno with the forward roll as well. In celebration. And it's nice to see kids be kids in a sense and have that ability to celebrate a little bit and show emotion. Far too many kids get a little bit too wound, too tight, and don't let that emotion out. It's about having fun at the end of the day. There's still business left to be had and done with this postseason, but it's okay to chest bump your teammates or your coach, or give a high five, and whatnot. And that was real fun to see. Yeah, and I'm sure you were excited to see that, being one of your football players.
Sure, he's a cool kid, works hard, smart, and he is a kid that doesn't take things too seriously. Sometimes we get out of hand. We're talking kids here, we're talking high school sports, and he just likes to have a good time. He likes to have fun. He's a pleasure to coach. He's a pleasure to watch. He's a solid kid. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Very, very mobile for a big boy. Caught Ellis. Ellis hung his head there a little bit, strapped him up in a cradle. Ellis, another young kid that we're really excited to watch you in the next couple of years. Wish those two big guys the best of luck next week.
All right, so Chuck, moving forward, got a week now. We'll break down your brackets. Everyone out there, I'm sure be making predictions, all that stuff on the forum, which is great. Right now I'm if I'm going to throw out a number right now of pack guys out of the 14 possible champions next week, I'm going to say the pack is going to win, and I'm not saying what weight class because I want to sit down and look at brackets first, but I'm going to say we're going to be a solid, I'm going to set the over-under at 8 champs next week out of the 14. There's some real tough kids in the Central League, and there's some tough teams. Your Garner Valley and Pencrest and Upper Darby right at the top. One was 7-0, the other two were 6-1 in the league. Had the privilege of calling that match for the Central League down there last week between Upper Darby and Garner Valley. Went to Criteria I. It was phenomenal. Couldn't ask for a better match, better atmosphere. Expect more of the same at Springford next week. A lot of people there, a lot of guys wrestling, a lot of guys going and giving everything they got to get to regionals. Just another step in the process of the postseason, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I think as far as talent goes, and I know I'm probably going to hear this on the forum because I heard it when I made the comment about Doug Zapp, but I'm giving my opinion, and it makes for good fodder, it makes for good talk. I'm going to say 8 champs for the pack. And 6 for Central League. I'm not going to give a number on medalists and who's had more qualifiers because it goes back and forth. Central League has, again, can't say enough. They have some really tough kids in that league, and there's some really tough teams. So it's going to be real competitive. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to all the district tournaments. We'll be at the District West tournament just because it's local for us, and PA Wrestling will be there covering the finals of that. So, Chuck, you got any predictions for next week?
Just looking forward to it. Central League's got a lot of tough kids, right? We're talking Delco, right?
Yep.
Kids that fight. A lot of good individuals. Where they're lacking a little bit is team consistency across the board. Pac-10's bringing some teams that are pretty well versed there and fill out lineups. So it's going to be tough for those Central League teams to place high in team points. But I fully expect a lot of individuals to do well. Going to be great battles for those final places at every weight class next week in the West. Just themes of the day. Congrats to OMJ. Nipped the Boyertown Pack champs here for the first time. Congratulations to Reddington, who won the Outstanding Wrestler. Great match by him in the finals. And just the themes we saw about paying attention to detail, not letting your head down, not giving up. You lose attention for 1 second, you give up points.
Yep.
And there's your match. I love the old versus young theme. Like, coaches are eating that up, and hopefully they're using it as examples of you got to be on the ball, and you can't give up these silly points. You've got to control the match from the get-go, and a lot of cool coaching points here today that I think coaches will use to try and get their kids to have an advantage next week.
Well, that's all we got here for the wrap here at the end. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe some, my predictions there will spark a little fodder on the forum. Hopefully positive. And if it's negative, it's no big deal. I got thick skin. You're gonna put yourself out there. You gotta be able to take it, right, Chuck?
Yep.
So,
Can't be afraid. Can't be afraid.
no fear. With that said, we're gonna sign off here. As always, Joe Youngblood, and I was joined tonight. Lucky to have with me
Chuck Nesley. It was a pleasure tonight. You guys do a great job. Nice job by Mr. Leicester back there putting this together. You guys are awesome.
Behind the
Great
scenes.
for the kids. It's really good for the kids.
So if you're wondering why the scoreboard was a little bit slow and off at times last night, because I was doing it, Mike wasn't there to help. He was running the live updates for the tournament so that people could follow that at home live. So I do apologize. My multitasking is a little bit off today, as were some of my stats, which I promise to be better next week.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
You did a really nice job. You do a good job.
Thanks, folks. Take care. Have a great night.
See ya.